morning. How is everybody today? I hope everybody is doing well. I am full. I just ate breakfast. I actually made breakfast this morning for me and Travis, and we sat down and ate breakfast together, which was nice because we usually don't do that. We just get up and get dressed and do our own thing. And so I am very, very full right now. I was a good wife this morning. How is everybody doing? Are you ready for some more Betty Broderick? Or actually, some more Kim Broderick. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Judy. Hey, Carla. What's up, guys? Really? No way. You saw your first Christmas commercial already? No, it's too early. It's not even Halloween yet. No way. Okay, Judy has trivia. Always. Always, always. I love Judy's trivia. In the second trial, the defense was not allowed to show evidence that Betty was a battered wife. I don't believe she was. I mean, and yeah, I've only seen, I guess, her side of the story. But I don't believe she was. Because I've seen how crazy she got over stupid stuff. Jack Early, Betty's lawyer, said that Paul Taylor, a cab driver, was offered $500,000 in 1983 to kill Betty by Dan. Taylor said that when he refused to cooperate with Dan, that Dan said that he would find another way to get rid of his wife. Oh, Carla, I hope you're feeling better. Hey, Carla Riley. We have 2 Carlas in the chat. That's how I feel in one of the streams that I mod for. There's 2 Debbies. And I have to look really hard because, like, when someone says Debbie, the inclination is to just respond, and I have to stop and wait and read. And are they talking to me or are they talking to the other Debbie? I'm like I said, I've only seen her side of the story because Dan's dead and can't defend himself, but I don't think she was ever battered. Of course, that's her side of the story that we've all seen, and they never portray her as battered. So maybe it's not her side of the story we're seeing. Because, like in the movie, she was never battered. He was a jerk a lot of the time, but she was never battered. Yeah, it does. In all the movies, it sounds like she was. If not the batterer, absolutely some psychological stuff. Hey, Jennifer, did I not say hi to you? Is she still here? Hey, there she is. Hey, Jennifer. And even Kim said on the stand, like, she would scratch him and dig her nails into him and stuff. That's battery. But the things that she did was, like, lock him out of the house, burn his clothes. That's DV. It's not. Maybe it's not physical, but it's still abuse. I can't believe she burned his clothes. That still gets me. Like, get in a fight with your husband and then, well, it was more than a fight. That was the day that she went to his office on his birthday to surprise him. And he was out with Linda. Like, hang on, I gotta burp. That was his birthday, and she went to the office to surprise him, and he had gone to lunch with Linda, and they never came back to the office. So I get being mad. I would have been mad too. But don't burn his clothes. I mean, come on. Be an adult. Like, but I would have left when that happened. I would have said, you were out with your secretary on your birthday. I came to surprise you. You were gone with her. That would have been, I'm leaving. I'm taking the kids and leaving right now. But no, she decided to burn his clothes. Okay, let's see. I wrote it down. We are on Kim, part 3. Oh, that's right. We were before redirect. So yeah, it's gonna buffer. Oh no! Thought it was gonna buffer like crazy. It didn't.
Well, you went to, at some point in time, somewhere you took some shooting lessons where you became accredited by the NRA, did you not?
They just give those things.
Okay, StreamYard, any day now. Any day now. They don't want to look at me, StreamYard. They want to watch the trial.
Talking to your mother where you were very upset that you were having problems at school and you found out about it. He copied a letter from your father to your brother, to his brother.
Then that has been relevant.
I think I was in Ohio when that.
And now it's going to buffer. You guys can't hear me. Now you can hear me. StreamYard. Well, it's hump day. So we're about on the downhill. Stupid StreamYard. Here we go. Hey, Marty.
Have you seen this letter before?
For the record, that's defendant's.
T. A letter dated January 20, 1987.
2 pages.
2 pages. Copies of correspondence to other people.
Could have still written this letter to Uncle Larry. I was.
I have no further question.
Good timing. We'll take our noon recess at this time, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be in recess until 1:30. Please remember the admonition. Have a nice lunch.
Regardless of whether or not you are aware of the specific orders of court or the agreements between your parents, is it true that your mother did have visitation with all of you?
Yes.
And that was not an uncommon thing?
No.
Were you ever aware of her writing in her diary any entries about your father attempting to give her the boys and her refusing because she didn't want to be his babysitter?
I don't know about entries in the diary about it. I just know she said it to me.
So there were times that he would offer the boys, allow them to go over to visit, and she would refuse to take them. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Counsel asked you about a little bit about your father and a door incident, him getting angry at a closet door. Was that something? Can you give us some perspective on that? Was that something that just all of a sudden happened, or what?
Well, it was on a sliding. It was on like a sliding thing. It had wheels on the bottom, and they kept falling off, and wheels on the top. and it was in Danny Ritt's room, and it fell off all the time, and then the whole door would go into the closet. And so then it was, I think this time the wheel actually fell off, and then he picked it up and took it out to the balcony and then threw it off the balcony.
And what about this motorcycle?
Your Honor,
The-
could we just ask the audience to please refrain from commenting on the evidence?
I don't think they commented. I heard a snicker or laugh, but I didn't hear any comments. If anybody in the audience is commenting on the evidence, please don't do that.
With respect to the motorcycle, he got angry at a motorcycle once. Did that just come out of the blue, or had something happened before?
Well, he got the motorcycle either for his birthday or for Christmas, and then it had been wrecked repeatedly. I think first he crashed into a curb, and then Mom crashed it into something, and then I crashed it the day he got it back from that. And then that's the day that he took it in the garage. Because he just gotten it home, and then he said I could take it around the block. I took it around the block, and I was going around the circle, and then it like fell like this. So then he took it into the garage, and then he did whatever he did to it, and then took it down the street.
Okay. So it had just come back from being fixed, and that had
Right.
happened on a couple of times, and then you took it out and wrecked it again.
Right. So he had pretty much enough of the motorcycle.
And you indicated that you never knew what he ultimately did with it. It wasn't something.
Yeah, let's give our newly repaired motorcycle to our teenage daughter to drive around the block. That's smart.
That he did in front of the kids. He just somehow got rid of the motorcycle.
We went up in the balcony and saw him walking it down the street, and then he came back and it wasn't with him anymore. So
Was that something that you all laughed about?
we asked him what he did with it over and over because it disappeared, but he wouldn't tell us.
Did your father ever throw Rhett down the stairs?
No.
Would Rhett sometimes say things to your mother about your dad that weren't true?
Yes, he did.
And why would he do that?
Your Honor, objection calls for conclusion speculation.
Sustained.
Well, what would your mother's response be when she would say, when the boys or you would say things like that about your dad? Would she like to hear those things?
Yes, she liked to hear those things.
Did she like to hear when you or the boys would say something nice about your dad?
No.
Would she get angry when you'd say something nice about your dad?
Yes, you just... No, she didn't want to hear anything nice about Dad or Linda.
And I take it that your mom didn't have any concerns or didn't express any concerns about your dad being abusive to any of you when she dropped you off and left you with him. Is that correct?
No.
There was a time that you indicated that you were aware of way back in 1986 where your dad was deducting some money from your mother because of the things that she was doing.
Yes.
Was he just angry about the fact that she would say a bad word? Or were there other things that he was concerned about?
Other things. It was, I know he deducted money when she would vandalize the house for repairs, and then the bad words, but I don't think he really cared if Mom used bad words. She just didn't want them around us.
Was he concerned?
I don't think that he had any control of whether she used them elsewhere, but he just didn't want them on his machine with us around.
Was he concerned about how those things were affecting you and the boys and Lee?
Yes.
Was he concerned about your mother attempting to force you all to hate him?
Yes,
Your Honor, objection, please.
Sustained.
Did he have any concerns about what your mother was doing as far as their feelings towards yours or their feelings towards him or Linda?
Yes, he was very concerned about that.
And during that time, before there was a court order for support, were you aware that your dad was voluntarily paying support to your mother?
Yes.
He was at the time paying all of her expenses, her mortgage, her insurance, her medical payments, her car payments, all of that stuff.
Right. I know he gave her a monthly check, and then I know that he made the house payment and the car payment and insurance payments. And for a while, I know he paid credit card payments.
Never anybody that ever showed up at your mom's house to repossess her cars or her furniture or her house, I think.
No.
The night that you indicated that your mom dropped Red off in the middle of the night with an earache, did she ever explain why she came over and just dropped him off in the middle of the night when he was sick?
No. I have no idea why.
So I take it she had Red at the time. She had visitation with Red.
Right.
Our objection is leading and it misstates the evidence.
Not sustained, just rephrase it.
Did she have visitation with Red at the time? With Red staying with her?
Your Honor, objection misstates the evidence. She's already testified she doesn't remember the earache.
Well, she asked her, well, she didn't, that question didn't have to do with an earache. It had to do with whether or not she had visitation with Red at the time. Do you know?
Yes, she did.
That's another question.
Did you ever hear your mom say anything to Danny or Red about being too embarrassed to tell people she knew them?
She said that on the phone machine. I heard her say that. I heard a message from her that said that.
Was that something that was upsetting to the boys?
Yes.
Too embarrassed to say she knew the boys? Or too embarrassed to say she knew Dan and Linda? Either way, that's weird. Because if it was to Dan, she was married to Dan and had 4 kids with him. And embarrassed to know your own kid. Either way, that's weird. Well, Betty's weird, but...
Only after she called and couldn't get through, and then she'd leave these messages, or would she leave them sometimes first thing off the bat?
It all varied. It all depended on, I don't even know what it depended on. It varied. Sometimes she'd call repeatedly and then leave a message. Sometimes she'd out of the blue, she'd leave a message. Just all different occasions.
So it didn't.
Sometimes it was because there's somebody's voice in the machine she didn't like. Sometimes it had nothing to do with the voice in the machine. They're all different. There wasn't any rule of thumb.
All different things that she was angry about.
Right.
And did your dad ever have any problems when she would call and leave a message that was a regular message?
No.
And you indicated that the message tape would have all the various messages that were left on it. Is that correct?
Right.
So whoever was calling in and leaving messages, there'd be messages on there.
Right.
And sometimes those tapes would include some messages from your mother.
Right.
And you're not aware or not of whether or not some of those original tapes have been turned over to the defense or are in the possession of Elisabeth Broderick?
No. I don't know what I don't know what was done with them once Dad had them.
Was it common to reuse that tape?
Yes.
So it would stay on the machine and messages would be left over old messages?
Right.
You indicated that your mother did call often over to your dad's house at Cypress. Is that correct?
Yes, she did.
Sometimes, many times a day?
Yes.
And sometimes, was there a fair amount of upset after her conversations with the children?
Yes.
Was there also a period of time where you had some hang-up calls in the middle of the night?
Yes, there was. That's why Dad turned off the ringers or took the phone away in the middle of the night. Yeah, he did that almost every night. After everyone would go to sleep and then he just put it back in the morning.
Because there had been some hang-up calls in the middle of the night.
Right.
Now, you talked about the fact that there were 2 phones in your house. One was the basic family phone and one was your dad's phone in the office.
Right.
that didn't ring very much.
Yes.
And your dad would receive phone calls as well from the family phone, is that correct?
Yes.
So if somebody wanted to call the Broderick house and they looked it up in the phone book, that would be the number that they'd call.
Right, that's the one that was listed. Not very many people knew the other one.
You described an evening where you went out with your dad and Mr. Monahan, who was a friend of your dad's, and all the kids. You remember that?
I think it was just Lee and I.
Okay. But it included Mr. Monahan's kids?
Yes.
And was there anything inappropriate that your dad did when you guys were all out for pizza?
No, not that I remember. We just went out to pizza.
Was he drinking and drunk?
No.
And when your mother threw the stereo at him, how soon was that after he opened the door?
Almost immediately.
So if there had been some problem, she wouldn't have known about it. I mean, she didn't have time to discuss things with
Right,
him.
by the time I walked in, the stereo was already on the ground.
I want to know what kind of stereo she threw. Because in the 80s, we had the big tower stereos. Do you guys remember those where you had to buy components? I'm old, y'all. You had to buy the turntable and then the receiver and then the tape deck and the equalizer, and then you put it all in this big cabinet that was like this big giant tower of different parts. And then when CD changers came along, you'd have like a double tape deck and then a CD changer and then the receiver and the equalizer, and it was this giant tower that ended up being almost as tall as you, well, me, because I'm 5'4", almost as tall as you were. Boombox, see, yeah, boombox you could easily pick up and throw. But not at like a tower stereo.
Counsel asked you about your dad's drinking. Was your dad an alcoholic?
No.
Did your dad drink alcohol?
Yes.
How would you describe how he drank or when he drank?
Well, occasionally on the weekends. On the weekends he'd go out with his friends and drink. But he didn't come home drunk, usually. On St. Patrick's Day, he'd drink a lot. When he'd come home from work, he didn't drink. Just varied, but mostly on, I guess St. Patrick's Day was the only time I saw him drunk.
Would you classify him as a social drinker? I mean, he'd drink with his friends,
Right.
And he'd party with his friends.
Right.
And in fact, you got a driving under the influence conviction. Were you aware that was on a St. Patrick's Day?
No, I don't know anything about it.
Okay. Was St. Patrick's Day a big day in the Broderick family?
Yes, it was.
Would a lot
Still
of...
is.
I'm sorry?
It still is.
Would a lot of your dad's relatives come out and visit and they'd party?
Yes.
I think you were also asked a question about you're driving the MG and your mother screaming about problems with the MG. Was there anything related to your dad in there? Was your dad the cause of any problems with the MG?
No.
Your mother was just angry because you were driving the MG?
Yes.
And ultimately she decided to buy you a car, is that correct?
Yeah. But that was before I drove the MG.
Okay, so she bought you a car before you drove the MG.
I drove the MG after I didn't have the car she got me anymore.
What happened to the car that she got you?
I crashed it about a month afterward. I rear-ended somebody, and then Dad paid to get it fixed, and then Mom said that, well, he can pay for the car. But Dad said that he wouldn't buy us cars until we graduated from college. So then it got repossessed.
Is it fair to say that your dad wanted you to have some responsibility as far as money was concerned.
Yes.
He didn't want to just buy you anything you wanted.
No.
And what about going to school? You indicated that you went to the college in Arizona, is that correct?
Yes.
Did your dad pay for your tuition?
Yes, he did.
Did he pay for your room and board?
He paid for the apartment and for the bills. My roommate and I just had the bills sent to our parents, and they paid for electricity and water and gas. And then we got allowance for phone and entertainment and food.
So, but basically your dad was paying all the bills.
Right. Except phone. I was supposed to pay that.
Is that where you got into trouble with getting a big phone bill?
Yes.
Now, you've indicated that you had 2 conversations with your mother on November the 5th, the day that your dad and Linda were killed.
Yes.
And conversations, you indicated that either your mother or Lee, you can't remember, hey, you shot me and I'm dead.
Yes. One of them said that. I just don't remember which conversation or who said it.
And, well, if it came from Lee, obviously it'd come from your mother
Right.
too.
I had said, if it came from Lee, then I'd asked her if he said anything, and she said, Mom said, he said this.
Now, do you know when he supposedly said that in relation to when your mother pulled the phone out of the wall?
Not in relation to when Mom pulled the phone out of the wall, but as she was leaving, she heard him say that.
As she was leaving the room, she heard him say, okay, you shot me, I'm dead.
Right. She didn't say as I was leaving, I don't think. Lee might have said as she was leaving. I can't remember Mom saying as. I'm sorry. Okay.
Start your answer again, please.
What was the question again?
As she was leaving the room, she heard him say, okay, you shot me, I'm dead.
Okay. And Lee might have said as she was leaving. Mom told her that. But it was pretty much just the whole gist of what I thought had happened.
In that conversation, did your mother say anything about your dad yelling, call the police?
No.
Did she say anything about Linda yelling, call the police?
No.
Did she say anything about anybody yelling, call the police?
No. No one said anything else except that.
Did she say anything about it being an accident, or she didn't mean it to happen?
No.
You also indicated, I think, that, are you doing okay? I'm almost done.
Okay.
That you erased some of the messages that your mother left on the phone, right?
Yes, I got them first.
So if Danny and Rex maybe didn't get some messages from your mother, you had erased them.
Right.
And that's
Or
what,
I would have gotten them and maybe forgotten to give them to him.
now, did you erase, are we talking about just regular messages that she would leave? or-
No, if she had left obscene messages, then I would try and erase them. I would erase them before Dad came home or rewind the machine so that someone would take over it. But that's what I would just get and then maybe. I know.
And the actual answering machine, your dad had taken out at a period of time, right?
Yes, and then he agreed that I could have it back if it was put in my room.
So he, as far as he was concerned, he just didn't want to hear the messages at all. If he was trying to collect messages, he wasn't trying to collect them anymore at that point, right?
Right.
And it was only at your insistence that he put the machine back on the phone?
Right.
And do you know whether or not your mother got mad when she found out he took the answering machine out?
Yes, because if we weren't home, or she figured that was pretty much the only way she could get in touch with us most of the time.
So she
weren't
was
home that
angry,
often.
I'm sorry.
Because we weren't home all that often.
So when the machine was on, if she was angry, she'd leave these messages?
Objection is leaving and ask an answer.
It's the same.
Yeah, you also mentioned, I think, that sometimes you were not allowed to take phone calls during dinner. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, was that just an across-the-board rule? You weren't allowed to take phone calls from anybody?
right.
So it wasn't directed towards your mother?
Well, we were supposed to turn down the machine so we couldn't hear the volume either. We weren't supposed to, and the ringer if it was in the kitchen. No phone calls during dinner, any of them. We weren't even supposed to know who was calling during dinner.
Okay, so it just didn't want to be interrupted with phone calls during dinner?
Right.
And did that happen also when you were doing homework?
Well, for a while we had phone hours, but no, that really didn't happen when we were doing homework.
Well, did the phone hours, did it have anything to do specifically with your mother, or were those just general
No,
times?
general times, because my sister and I would fight about the phone all the time.
You like to talk on the phone a lot?
Yeah. Not anymore, but I used to.
You indicated that you, as far as you recollect, that you had never lost your keys to your dad's house before, right?
Right.
You were asked the question, maybe you could have lost some car keys before, right?
I don't remember losing car keys, but maybe I could have.
Was there some concern by your dad about keys being lost, or your mother being in possession of the key to his house?
Well, somebody lost keys at one time because we had all the locks changed.
And why?
So there was some key of Dad's floating around because he thought Mom might have the key. So we had all the locks changed on all the doors.
So he was concerned about your mother having a key to the house?
Yes.
You were also asked some questions about your feelings about your mother's treatment of your dad, that you didn't think was particularly good. Was that only in the last couple of years of their marriage, or are you talking about from the time as far back as you can remember?
As far back as I can remember.
You're talking about when you were 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old.
Right. It didn't just all start when I was around 15. It was a long time ago.
And with respect to your mother, or the allegation of your mother putting a ski in the door, do you know whether or not your mother has admitted doing that?
I heard something about a ski in the door since then. I don't know where I've heard about it, or if Mom says she did it or anything.
Okay. So you don't recall whether or not your mother specifically told you that she had done that?
No.
Counsel asked you if there had been any problems with any housekeepers that your dad hired. Were you aware of any problems with those housekeepers in relation to your mother?
Yes.
That they-
Some of them didn't get along with Mom.
And did that have anything to do, as far as you knew, with them stopping their employment?
Yes.
Was it didn't have to do with not getting along with your dad, it had to do with not getting along with your mother?
Right. The first one, Ginger, we didn't like. That's why he got rid of that one.
And you talked about that there were times when your dad had hired security guards. I mean, was that something that he just did for fun because he liked to have security guards out there?
No, it was when he was nervous about something. Or when he thought something might happen. We didn't have him all the time.
Right. And you had indicated that when he did it the first time, it was after your mother had driven the car through the door.
Right.
Was it after another time when she had attacked him with some keys?
I don't remember. I don't know.
It was after some times when she had just come into the house unannounced when she wasn't supposed to be there?
No objection.
Stand. It's just for free.
Were there concerns by your father in relation to your mother coming into the house unannounced when she wasn't supposed to be there?
Yes. We had already moved out of Coral Reef. This is when we never had security guards at Coral Reef. We had them at Cypress after the stuff had happened at Coral Reef and after the car had been through the house. Then when things would occur where he thought Mom might do one of those things, then he would get security guards.
Okay, counsel asked you some questions about your dad and his decision and his thinking about giving custody of Danny and Rhett to your mother right before his murder.
Yes.
And was it your impression from your discussions with him that he was getting rid of Danny and Rhett because he was thinking about having a new family with Linda?
No, he did not expect for that to last. He expected that if he just said, okay, go ahead, then they'd be back soon. That then maybe everyone would just quit yelling at him all the time.
And that was based on past history with your mother giving them back?
Your Honor, objections, leaving.
Sustained.
Well, was it your understanding, your dad didn't go into court and say, hey, I want to get rid of Danny and Rhett, did he?
No.
Your Honor, I object as leading, and it calls for conclusion.
Sustained.
Was the discussions that you had with him about giving your mother custody, was that following the motion that she had filed for custody?
Yes, there was supposed to be a custody hearing coming up.
Counsel asked you some questions about your dad driving a Corvette. This was after your mom and dad had separated, is that correct?
Yes.
Several years after they'd separated?
Well, he got a new car sometime later. I don't know what year he got the new car. But yeah, he had the Corvette for a while.
And she was angry about the fact that he was driving a Corvette?
Yes.
Was it, did she wanted to dictate what car he drove?
Yes. She wanted him to get a family car.
Did he ultimately buy a sedan, a Jag sedan?
Yes.
Did the fact that she didn't like that he wasn't driving a family car, did that have anything to do as far as your conversations with her about why she killed him on November 5th, 1989?
No.
Did you or Danny or Red or Lee ever go without food at your dad's house?
No.
Is there any substance to that?
No. There was always food at Dad's house. There wasn't always like particular kind of snack food that we wanted after school, but there was food and there was snacks. That's the only thing I could think of that there wouldn't have been.
I'm sorry.
There's meals on the table every night. There's breakfast food. It's the only thing I could think of that anyone would have complained about was their choice of snack food.
In fact, was one of the jobs of the housekeepers who worked for you to cook the meal, the evening meal?
Yes, and they usually went grocery shopping, and we were supposed to tell them what we wanted.
And the business about you charging food on your mother's account in La Jolla, did that have anything to do with your dad? Did your dad tell you to go charge food on your mom's account?
No. No, that was of my own free will. We didn't buy groceries. It was just snacks and stuff when we'd be in La Jolla.
Now, Christmas, you were asked a question about Christmas of 1985 and going skiing with your father.
Yes.
Were you aware of whether or not your dad had offered to let your mother have the kids that Christmas?
I don't remember. Too long ago.
Do you know whether when she found out that your dad and Linda were going skiing, that she said no? She wouldn't take the kids?
I don't remember.
You were asked some questions about whether your mother ever had any money to go skiing. Your mother went skiing herself after the separation several times, didn't she?
Yes.
She went to Keystone, she went to Park City, she went to Deer Valley, several different trips. Is that correct?
Yes.
And she took the kids too, right?
On one occasion to Keystone, she took Lee, Danny, and Rhett. She took Lee and I to Deer Valley twice. And I don't know about any other times.
So is it fair to say if she wanted to go skiing, she had money to do it?
Yes.
It's even sadder that she knows this stuff. Like, Betty didn't have the decent courthercy to not do this in front of her kids. Like that phone call with her son, Danny. The things that she said to him. You shouldn't say those things to a kid. It's crazy.
You were asked some questions about a statement that you had earlier made when you were asked whether or not your mother was a good mom. And you weren't allowed to give the complete statement there. Is it not true that you also in answer to that question, said, no, she's too obsessed with hating my dad. I mean, whenever they're over there, that's all she talks about.
Yes.
And did you also relay that same feeling back in January of 1989 to the judge during the divorce trial?
Yes.
So that wasn't something that just you thought about after your dad and Linda were killed?
No.
You felt that, in fact, did you tell the judge that your mom was doing irrational things, she had a very bad temper, and she was obsessed with hating your dad and Linda?
Your Honor, objection, leading.
Sustained.
Do you recall making statements to that effect to a judge?
Yes. In that when my sister and brothers and I went to talk to a judge in one of the custody hearings in his chambers, and we talked to him together and we talked to him separately. I believe I told him those statements when I talked to him separately.
Your dad did have some disagreements, problems with your sister Lee. Is that correct?
Yes.
Had your sister Lee been caught doing drugs?
She got caught with drugs at school, and then from then on, there were lots of problems.
Did she drop out of school?
Yes, she did.
And were those things that your dad was concerned about?
Yes.
Right before his death, or shortly before his death, were things getting better between your dad and Lee, as far as you recall?
Your Honor, objection. Calls for conclusion, speculation.
Overall, it's an opinion lay witness, Cindy, I didn't answer that.
Well, we all went to Hawaii the summer before Dad died together, so that was an improvement. And
Had Lee gotten her GED or?
yeah, she got a high school equivalency. Sometime that year, we all went to Hawaii together, and we all spent her birthday night together. So those seem to be improvements.
And on this incident when your mother drove the car through your dad's door at Cypress, you mentioned that she said something about coral reef and that it's the, well, actually I think counsel said it was the only asset that she had her name on it, but something about the fact that that there was nothing left in the world without her name on it, something like that.
No, she just said I have nothing left. She did not say those two together, I don't think.
Well, if she was suggesting that she had nothing left after coral reef was sold, that would have, is it fair to say that would have been a tremendous exaggeration?
Your Honor, objection. It calls for speculation and conclusion.
Sustained, it's argumentative.
Were you aware that she had her name on the Calle de Cielo house?
No, I don't know about her name on anything.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess you can. But that wasn't his grounds for objection. I don't know if that's allowed. He said sustained as to argumentative, but that wasn't the grounds that Early stated. He stated calls for a conclusion and speculative or speculative. And then the judge said sustained as to argumentative. But that wasn't what the objection was. So how can the judge do that? I thought they weren't allowed. I thought if the reason for the objection wasn't right, that they couldn't sustain it. They had to overrule it. See, this is when I need to be a lawyer, y'all. I'm not doing you guys any service when I don't know the rules. Now I need to ask a lawyer. Because I didn't think they could do that.
Did she ever tell you that was the only, that he had sold the only property with her name on it out from underneath her?
No.
And you also indicated that your mother had a fair amount of papers and things in her house, boxes of stuff.
Right.
Was that just legal documents, or were there newspapers, magazines, articles, a lot of that?
All kinds of stuff.
Those are things that she kept, right?
Right.
She kept everything.
Right.
Didn't throw any of that away.
No. She collected catalogs and newspaper clippings and magazines and legal documents and lots of stuff.
And she made copies of a lot of stuff too.
Yes.
That's why she had her own Xerox machine.
Right.
I have no further questions.
Recross?
You had some problems, you had to talk your father into having Lee go to Hawaii, didn't you?
Well, both of us. He had originally invited all four of us, and then he had decided that Lee and I shouldn't go anymore because I had a job and Lee was working. Lee was working at Chuck's at the time, so we decided both of us weren't going to go, and then I talked him into having both of us go.
Well, wasn't there a time where Lee wasn't going to go and you went and interceded? It wasn't a question about both of you, it was a question about Lee. Or was it always a package deal? Lee only went if you went.
Well, he said both of us weren't going to go, and then I talked to him and both of us went.
There was never a time that Lee was upset because she was not.
I had told her that Dad had said that about both of us. It wasn't just Lee.
There was a time where Lee was upset because she wanted to go different than you, right?
I don't understand what you mean. We both wanted to go.
And your dad said neither one of you are going?
He invited us, and then he never said to us both of us aren't going. He just kind of never talked to us about it again. And then I talked to Linda, and Linda said, oh, well, you both have work and school, and oh no, it's just both of us had work. And then I talked to him, and then I told him both of us still wanted to go, and he couldn't invite us.
You were the one that introduced Lee to drugs, weren't you?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
You want to make an offer proof-wise relevant since it went into it.
Make that at the recess.
Lee was upset about her treatment because of drug use and you being treated different, wasn't she?
Lee was upset because of her relationship with Mom and Dad.
You indicated that the only reasons you knew that your father deducted money from your mother was because of vandalism. Is that correct?
No.
Well, that was one of the reasons.
That was one of a few reasons.
Okay. Now, were you aware that the court ordered? Do you know when your father made the deductions?
When he was going to give her check. Then I believe he sent a attachment to it saying what the deductions were for.
Were you aware of any deductions in 1985?
I don't know the years of any deductions. I don't know.
Were you aware that the system of deductions started in September of 1986?
I'm not aware of when the deduction system started.
Okay. But you are aware that the system of deductions was partially because of vandalism. Is that correct?
It was for a bunch of different things.
But that was one of them.
Right.
The car accident happened beginning of 1986 in February. Is that correct? Or
I'm
March?
not sure.
It was February, March of 1986.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
You had just moved into the Cypress home. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now we have the car incident after you moved into the Cypress home. What was the next act of vandalism that your mother committed?
I don't know.
Think about it.
The vandalism was mostly at Coral Reef. I don't really remember any of the vandalism.
So there was some things that happened, and the last thing that you remember happening is February, March of 1986. Do you remember anything happening after the car in 1986?
You're speaking of vandalism? No, I don't remember anything else.
Do you remember anything happening in all of 1987 as far as vandalism?
Don't remember anything else of vandalism other than the picture.
Okay. So the next thing you remember after the incident in 1986, the last incident that you remembered was in May of 1989. Is that correct?
Yeah, she did do something to his car somewhere in between those two times. She ripped off the antenna and threw a rock at it. That might be called vandalism.
Did you see her do that?
Saw her rip the thing off the antenna, yeah.
Okay, and when was that?
Somewhere in between those times. I really don't know. Sometime when Dad came to get us.
And the incident before, in 1985, when there was the incidents of throwing the pie and the spray painting, can you relate when those happened? Were those happened in December of 1985, October?
I have no idea.
Do you remember anything happening in December of 1985?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything that happened, pretty much the dates longer than 2 years ago.
You indicated that the only reason that Rhett would say anything about your dad being mean was because your mother liked to hear it, such a father being mean, hurting him. Isn't that right? Remember that?
About hurting him or about hurting him?
About pushing him down the stairs.
That particular incident, I don't believe Dad really did that. I think he just told Mom that because she wanted to hear it.
And Rhett got in trouble with that from your dad, isn't that right? For saying that to your mother?
For telling her things that weren't true.
Did Rhett tell the judge about getting thrown into the wall by your father because the judge liked to hear those things?
Objection, Your Honor. Lack of personal knowledge.
Same.
Well, you didn't have personal knowledge about the stairs, did you?
Objection, argument.
Sustained.
Did you ever find out that the boys were telling the judge about things because they thought the judge liked to hear things, about lack of food in the house?
Objection, assumes facts not in evidence.
Sustained.
I'm asking if she heard, if she had some personal knowledge about that.
Anything, she clearly wouldn't have any personal knowledge about that, Mr. Early. This took place between the kids and the judge in private. It's not relevant to these proceedings. It had to do with the child custody.
Now, the MG, when you were asked about that at the trial, you remember the prior trial, you remember indicating that your mother bought you a car, that your mother bought after there was problems with the MG.
No, I don't remember indicating that. Problems with MG were basically when we had the big problems, it would stop. The engine would just go off on the freeway. That was when I came back from college, the summer. I didn't have my license until right before Mom got me the car. So if there were problems with MG, that must have been with Lee. But she had her own car too, so.
Did you have problems with the MG?
Once I got back from college.
Didn't you say that, and you've never had, there was never a reason that your mother bought you, you've never testified when you were asked about the MG, that's why your mother bought you a car? That's not what you testified to?
Objection, Your Honor. I'm sorry, I think the question's on time.
Well, if you're referring to a particular page, Mr. Early, if you'd state the
Page 367.
and the line numbers.
The whole page, 1 through 28.
All right. And this is from which transcript?
This is from the trial transcript. The last trial, I believe, will be October 24th.
Okay, go ahead.
Would you read that page to yourself?
Okay.
Have one. Do you have an opportunity to read that page?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you were asked a question about, did your father have a Corvette at the house? Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that was, I didn't put, there was no, yes was your answer, not words put in your mouth, right?
My dad have a Corvette?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And the next question, was there a time that you had for your access to drive at your father's house? Was there a time that you had a card for your access to drive at your father's house? And your answer was an MG.
Yes.
Okay. And did you talk to him about the safety of the MG and it breaking down?
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated that your father didn't believe that. The question was, and your father didn't believe that, did he? And you answered no.
Okay.
And the next one with that one, you indicated he might have been angry at me. You didn't say, I didn't have access.
Argumentative.
Sustained. What she didn't say is argumentative.
And your father didn't believe that, did he? To do what you said, you might have been angry at me. Is that correct?
Objection. The question's not involved.
Overruled, you can answer that.
Did I say that? Yes.
He said when you graduate for college, you were supposed to, until you graduated from college, you were supposed to use the MG. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the next question, okay, so your mother brought you a car, answer yes.
We're not going to object to these questions. There's nothing inconsistent with them, with what she says.
There isn't so far, I don't know what he's getting to, so overruled, go ahead.
The district attorney asked you a number of questions, remember, about what your mother did not say on the tape? The argumentative questions about what they did not say on the tape?
Those objections were sustained. Your objections to those questions were sustained.
Did How did you know that your father was making voluntary payments?
Because my mom and my dad both told me that.
Okay. And do you know the how much those payments were?
$9,000.
Okay. And do you know how much was being deducted for all the expenses? Houses, insurance, cars, credit cards?
Deducted from the $9,000?
Yes.
No. I just knew that figure.
The, you indicated that at some point in time you thought that both your mother and father were playing games with the visitation.
Objection, Your Honor, that's beyond scope.
Sustained.
Well,
There was no testimony on redirect regarding visitation.
I beg to differ, Your Honor. There was a letter that was shown to her. I thought that was
She
just
said,
a draft.
she said she didn't recognize, never seen before.
And there was questions about visitation before the letter.
That was foundational for the letter, that she said she did not recognize it, she'd never seen before.
Can I have a moment, Your Honor?
Certainly.
The, during the time that your mother was living at the rental house, was your, and your father left, was there a number of things that were going on that were upsetting the household?
Objection, Your Honor, beyond scope of redirect.
What rules against that?
I also object to Sunday.
No. Sustained. Pin it down as the time, Mr. Early.
Should I go by day, Your Honor? I said after your father left in the rental home. That's a 2-month, 3-month period. I can go from day to day.
You don't have to go from day to day, just pin it down to what time frame, what year are you talking about?
Okay.
When your father lived in the rental home, what year that was?
In 1985, after February 28th, when your father left the rental home, was there a number of problems that were, that the family was having?
Yes,
Okay, children were fighting?
just like always, though.
No more than usual?
Nope.
Your mother wasn't any more upset than usual?
Mom was more upset than usual, but we were all fighting. It was as much as always.
Was there any thing being mentioned about money or where money was coming from or how they were going to live?
Yes, Mom was worried about that.
Was and you say that it's usual in La Jolla to have rats running across people in the house. That's a fairly usual occurrence.
Objection, Your Honor, that misstates the law.
Sustained.
Well, you indicated that rats in La Jolla are fairly usual down at that part. Is that correct?
There are rats down there in the house. It's not crawling across people.
Okay. Well, you remember indicating that there was times where the rats were crawling up on the furniture or beds?
No. I said, you asked me about that, and I said that no rats ever crawled over me.
Okay.
I don't know of any rats crawling over people. There are rats down there, I know, in the Shores area, and we had rats at our house.
But in your mind, that was the same problem that everyone was having in La Jolla Shores.
I don't know about everyone, but I know that our house wasn't the only house with rats.
There were times you indicated where your mother would not pick up the children when she was supposed to? Or do you remember that? Or did that happen?
From school? I think most of the time she picked them up from school when she was supposed to pick them up.
At your father's house when it was visit, when she was supposed to, when she was allowed to, did she come and pick them up?
No, when she would visit them on the weekend, she usually picked them up from school.
Okay. But were there times where she was supposed to come over to the house and pick them up and she just wouldn't show up?
No, by that point, it was usually pretty final. I mean, if they thought she was coming over, she usually came over by then. If there was any cancellation, it would have been right before that.
And the messages on the machine, did they start pretty much as soon as you moved into, did they start before you moved into Cyprus?
Yes, they started at Coral Reef.
And they were a big deal in the family. I mean, they caused a lot of uproar.
Yes, they did.
I have no further questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our afternoon recess at this time. Please remember the admonition. We'll be in recess till 3 o'clock.
Just before you, I am the director
Oh, you don't?
on council, you can excuse her.
Hold off for just a minute. Any objection to being excused?
Subject to recall.
All right. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your subject up now.
Thank you.
Okay, I have no idea who's next. More than one person. Linda David, Charlene Eco, Gail Forbes, Orlando Padilla, and Robin Tua. No idea who those people are. It looks like a bunch of short witnesses. So this segment is 2 hours. Let's do about 15 minutes and then go to Donna's trial. If it'll load.
You hired by Dan Broderick at some point to essentially manage his house and help with the children.
Yes.
Do you recall approximately when it was that you were hired by Mr. Broderick?
Summer of 1987.
And for about how long did you work for him?
I believe I worked for him full-time for around 6 months, and then on part-time on until his
Can you describe for us, you indicated that you were first hired on a full-time basis. Can you describe for us what your duties were?
did the grocery shopping, I did the evening cooking, the laundry, kept the house organized and clean, and took care of the children when they came home from school until their father came home in the evening.
And were all four of the Broderick children living there with Mr. Broderick at the time that you were working there?
Yes.
And when you say you worked full-time, what hours were you working?
During the summertime, the hours were from 10 to 6, and it was 8, Monday through Friday.
Did you ever work on weekends occasionally?
If Dan were out of town, had business or vacation, and the boys weren't with Mrs. Broderick, then I would come and stay with them.
And you indicated that after you stopped working full-time after a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who it was that took over as Mr. Broderick's housekeeper?
It was my mother.
Sorry about that, guys. Yes, Marty, they're short people.
Mr. Broderick to take care of the kids?
Yes.
About how often would that happen?
It happened whenever my mother needed a day off or was ill, whenever Dan was going to be out of town on business or vacation, anything like that, I would substitute.
For example, when Dan and Linda went on their honeymoon, did you babysit during that period
Yes,
of time?
I did.
And do you recall when the last time was, prior to Dan and Linda's death?
The last time I stayed was in October. I believe that Dan and Linda had gone to the Notre Dame game back east.
Who was the short guy that sang that song all the time? Like, he didn't start it, but he would do it as a cover. He sang it with the Muppets one time. Paul Williams? Was that guy's name? Short people got no reason. I'm short too. I'm 5'4". Dang, StreamYard, we're almost done. Till we get to the next trial. Chill.
Well,
Yes,
did you also get to know the defendant in this case, Elisabeth Broderick?
I got to.
Did he sing the original?
Can
Maybe.
you describe, for example, how well you got to know her, how often you talked to her?
I don't think of us as friends, but she was very friendly to me, and I was very friendly and polite to her. She called a lot to talk to her kids, and if they weren't there and I answered the phone, we would talk. And whenever she picked up or dropped off the children, we would communicate.
You indicated that she was very friendly with you. Was there a change in her treatment of you at all, or was that throughout?
For the majority of our relationship, we were very amicable toward each other.
When you would have conversations with Mrs. Broderick, did she ever talk to you about her feelings about Dan and Linda?
Yes.
Can you describe, would that be occasionally, often, all the time?
Most of the time.
Those conversations, would they be something that you had generated, or something that...
No, it was a subject that she would bring up.
Okay. And was it a subject that you particularly wanted to talk about?
No.
If you attempted to not talk about it, was it difficult to change the subject?
Yes.
How would you describe the nature of her interest in Dan and Linda, or in talking about them to you?
He had a lot of hate for her former husband, and how much she hated him, things that had gone on between them in the past, things that were going on between them in the present, that type of thing.
When you indicate that she had a lot of hate for Mr. Broderick, how did you know that? What would she say?
That's what she said. A lot of hatred for him, a lot of name calling, a lot of threats. Fairly aggressive or violent language.
When she would express her opinions about Mr. Broderick, did she also talk about her feelings for Linda Broderick?
Not as often, but sometimes.
And what would she say about Linda?
Same thing, you know, how much she hated her, how much she disliked her and resented her.
Did she ever use particular words to describe Linda?
Yes.
Can you tell us what those were?
She referred to her regularly as the cunt or the office cunt or the bitch.
Okay. And how about Dan?
She called her, those are the two most common, I would say.
Now, was it when she talked about Dan and Linda, was it easy to get her onto other subjects?
No.
Okay. When she would talk about them, was it always as you described, with respect to her hate for them? Did she ever say nice things about them, for example?
No, never.
And how did it make you feel to be part of these conversations?
Your Honor, objection is relevant.
Sustained.
Well, did you ever let Mrs. Broderick know how you felt or whether or not you wanted to engage in talking about Dan and Linda?
I didn't want to say anything that would make her more upset or angry. And I also didn't want to say anything that would cause her to be upset or mad at me. I tried to just let the conversation run its course and then end the conversation and hang up.
Now, you indicated that in these conversations that she would make threats. Mm-hmm. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? What kind of threats?
I'd have to think for a minute. She did refer regularly to the idea of killing Dan. Sometimes I thought it was metaphorically, other times it sounded more literal.
Okay. When you say she would refer to the idea of killing Dan, what would she say?
She was going to kill him.
Okay. So she would make that direct statement.
Yes.
And was that uncommon or?
No.
When she talked about wanting to kill him, how would you describe her demeanor? How did she seem?
Usually it was if she was particularly upset about something that had been going on between them, either in court or involving money or the kids, and she would basically explain the situation in a very animated way and say, you know, I can't take much more of this. I'm just going to kill him. And it would be in that context.
Would it be in the context of being angry, or was she depressed, like I can't?
No, it was always very, very aggressive, very angry, very upset, very animated.
Okay. Oh, did, well, strike that. Let me ask you what, you indicated some of the things that she appeared to be upset about. Did she have a major complaint as far as you were concerned?
The major complaint was financial, I would say.
Money?
Yes.
And how would she describe her financial situation?
She oftentimes told me that she was, you know, financially in trouble or didn't have enough money to make ends meet, and that Dan was living a lavish lifestyle.
Did she ever complain about being broke?
Yes.
Did she ever, just from what you observed, did she appear to be broke or without money or finances?
Not that I would know.
In any of these conversations when she was angry or talking about killing Dan or Linda, did you ever talk to her about moving on with her life?
Only one time that I remember. As I said, for the most part, I liked Mrs. Broderick. I did. I thought she was very witty and very intelligent, and she could be very nice. And one time when she seemed particularly upset about something, I did ask her, didn't she think it was possible that she would fall in love again and go on to be happy?
And what was her response to that?
Her response to that was that she wasn't really in love with Dan, that it was, her relationship with him was based on their similar family backgrounds, the fact that he would be successful and be a good provider, and they had very similar goals in their life. She described it more like a partnership.
Did she indicate whether or not she had ever been in love with Dan Broderick?
She didn't indicate that she had ever been.
Okay. Did she indicate she never had been?
Yes.
And did she tell you why she had married him?
She didn't go into it a lot, but just the things I just said, that she felt he would be successful. They had a lot of similar goals. Their families were the same. And they had, that was basically it.
He was.
No objection.
Did she ever talk about anything with respect to her contribution to him as a success?
Yes.
What would
she
she
said
say?
that she had basically taught Dan how to dress in a more professional way and had decorated his office and had joined the appropriate ladies' clubs and helped him become the person that he was at the present time.
How did she talk about that? I mean, you're talking about it kind of calmly. Did she talk about it bitterly?
No,
or?
she was very bitter about it.
Okay. Did she ever express to you something like emotional loss as far as the relationship was concerned?
She never talked about like being lonely or missing Dan as a partner or a companion. It was always in terms of the losing the lifestyle or the money or the events that Dan had attended and the prestige that he had gained as an attorney. It was a material loss, always.
Okay. We're gonna stop here. Part 10. Bye, Carla. Feel better. Okay. So now we're going to go from California to Florida to the Donna Adelson trial. This will redirect you. Thank you, everybody, for... I just lost my train of thought. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. If you want to watch the Donna Adelson trial with us, it should redirect you. If not, I will see you again in the morning at 8 for Betty Broderick. Bye, guys. Have a great day.